Hey, hello, I'm back in. I had to make the part two of the first part that I had, what I would do if I were to be made president. So I'd like to talk about qualifications, because it's a kind of a big issue. So, what qualifies me? I think that a honest person. So, I don't know exactly what qualifies anybody running or any of the past people, but I do know from the little bit that I've been um, indulged in myself, politics kind of necessarily influences me. It interests me. So I know having it as one of my interests, like history, I know that a governor would make a better president, having been governing, let's say, a state. Um, versus being a senator before. That's the truth. But I haven't been either one, but I have basically have studied for years um, politics, and I'd like to get into one of the things that interests me as far as my own promotion goes. I like the idea of getting signatures instead of spending too much money going out, being kind of an influence, talking to people and stuff like that. So at any point in the future, I think that it's a definitely a good idea not to talk necessarily too much about other people's agendas and other people's problems. Or if you have a problem, say if I have a problem with Obama or somebody else, it's better probably not to focus too much on talking about what they did opposed to what you're going to do. I think that it makes for a better uh, politician or whatever whoever you vote for if they're if they generally talk more about what they will do if they had that position or became that, then they kind of get uh, they get me interested a little bit more so than somebody who talks about somebody else and what they've done or what their opinion or what they're going to do going forward. There's no telling. You don't really know what a person's going to do if you hire them or do whatever. You have to hope, do it and hope for the best, right? So hopefully don't re-elect the same person over if they do a terrible job. But um, that's American society for you. They takes a lot. It's just like any other place. Um, I do believe that America and Canada share very similar, um, like common perspectives. My opinion of Canada and America both. I think that they both won their independence. So Um, in my opinion, I think that when it comes to their countries in particular, I don't think that when it comes down to it, it might have to come down to it. Like in World War II, when the Japanese attacked us, and it came down to them doing that to us, really getting involved in the World War II. Um, um, Liberal, touchy situations um, damper damper things, in my opinion, that are obvious. Like obvious, if you have an enemy, um, and there's no talking to them, they attack you. There's something that you have to do about it. But anyways, it's like in World War II. In my opinion, I think it was kind of a liberal thing there. If you ask me, like oh, you can't say this and you can't say that. And there's a lot of Jewish people that actually caused the Holocaust by um, not being very responsible. Maybe if I could put it that way. Um, but I don't think that Germans or Nazi or evil people have any excuses at all either. I'm not trying to say that either. I just think that we've had so much in history to be able to go and look back on and reflect on with the economy, with how the government takes income in, how you tax people, how people go to work. There's so many explanations in various ways. You can also prove and object to how things are going now because they're not counterbalanced or they're not, that's what I'd say, for the common people, for you and I. They're more, set more for somebody else's agenda, possibly a politician's point of view perspective where they think they should be as government governing and they should be in control and giving out whatever instead of people being able to do for their own selves. Um, I think that there is a lot of manipulation going on in the American society, and I see it through socialism uh, in all various countries. And I think that gun control is a big one. That's why against gun control. I'm trying to take our guns, do anything like that, because it reminds me of a socialist state where the government can just take over um, every aspect of your life. So I want to point out that I am for moving towards people's own independence and them having their own abilities to be able to govern themselves. And that has to have people come to a sense where they don't need to be governed because there's no reason for them. Um, they're not breaking the law. They're not breaking any rules. They abide by the rules. And they can pay their taxes and everything on their own. And they're happy, jolly. Um, and it's just legitimate. You don't have to sick the government on people. It's just where I'm coming from, what I believe. So I kind of have a difference of opinion when it comes to Democrat Party in particular because I think they're a monster and I think they have a lot of people fooled. Um, so looking forward towards people's own independence. Um, if you know anything about uh, Ben Stein, I sent a request for the guy. I don't know how much uh, his office would want, but they maybe possibly charge a fee for him. And I don't have I have insufficient funds when it comes to that. I need somebody, uh, anybody who I can interview or things like that. Come on their own merit right now. Maybe at some point in time, they'll be able to be like a Fox News deal or something with people coming on and contributing to what I'm doing. But as far as right now, that's not the way it is. So, um, and back to how I believe now to stay focused. Some I'm not working in particular right now. I live out in the country, kind of, and I choose to kind of. I've been writing a lot, so that's kind of where I've been kind of working towards. I think as far as my own independence is going to come in the form of me doing something just like anybody else. We'll have to do something, and I believe that a major independence of my own will be gained from writing a book. So I'm going to be focused on writing a book to raise my own money for my own campaign. So that's what I would use towards that to start off right off the bat, along with trying to get people to like petition and stuff like that, like they do kind of like on change.org, pretty much more or less. but I've always been a Republican, but I want to come off as somebody who will listen to all the facts and listen to everybody. And I don't know if you would call it a liberal um, position or whatever, but I'm for legalizing marijuana. If there's a possible way we could just legalize it and then regulate it like alcohol. I heard that. I'm in a group that's called that on Facebook. One of my accounts, I have two Facebook accounts. One's for this, like political stuff, and the other one's for sports. And it's intended for sports. But I broke the uh, the deal, the seal, or whatever on that, and I've talked um, politically. I've opened my mouth on that, so to speak. But I also believe that if you don't, you can lose a lot of things like free speech and other things that we have, other freedoms. Um, so, constitutional person, I believe that the Constitution for us, it's, my opinion, I believe that a lot of politicians now believe that it's for them, that the the Constitution itself is basically made up by our forefathers for them and not for us. So if that makes any sense. So I have a lot of I was just gonna say I have a lot of reports and stuff that I want to get into, but if anybody wants to talk about my background, I need people to just make excuses for me why I should be the president. And marijuana is mainly if Obama got that healthcare crap, I think we should have the marijuana passed, make it legal, people to have just like alcohol. But so I'm just saying, make an excuse for me. If people talk crap about me, just keep making excuses because they all make excuses. They have an agenda. Oh wow. Uh, Al Sharpton threatens hunger strike if Loretta Lynch is not confirmed AG. Yeah, like I said, I have two accounts. I'm looking at this other Facebook account that I have for Columbus Lanham. So I'm gonna do a screen share with this. I've got some that are kind of offensive, but they all make sense and they're pretty close to the truth. In my opinion, they're the truth. They're not what you say unnecessarily hypothetical. It's a true statement. What I would do, our president, some separated them real quick so that I don't have too many there. It's the truth, and sometimes you need to be enlightened. If there's an argument, follow it up with an argument. Then but still, don't lie to people. Don't keep, and this isn't right here. Me not showing all of them isn't. You can look it up for yourself later. It's Christopher Columbus 3sr.wordpress.com. That's where all of them are at. So just to be frank, I'm not trying to hide anything. I just don't want to put anything out there that would be considered kind of, somebody could argue it might be kind of offensive to them. Not necessarily offensive, kind of an offensive statement, it's in a report, so if I do, so let me get into this one here. Giving people another chance to vote for Christopher Columbus, Lanham III as president, aka Sir Kalam. Sir Kalam is an Oregon-born native whom was raised by other Marines and the U.S. Marine Corps, not Corps. So I got on the people. It's offensive to me when they called the Navy corpsman a corpsman. My grandfather, one of my grandfathers was he was a pharmacist mate. In World War II. Corpsman. So, it's called corpsman. Oh, immunizations. I have a personal experience with immunizations. So what I say is they have to be better tracked and everything well documented about what they do to people in particular. So if it's science, they need to get into the science so that it gets less and less harmful to people. I have a really good immune system. Eating fresh eggs and I don't even do it like all the time. I just kind of don't go around too many people. So I don't get sick very often. I get a cold maybe every now and then, but I have not had the flu. I'm knock on wood. For like, I haven't had the flu in like 6 years. Um, Perfect sense. Oh, I want to turn the Patriot Act reversed. Now perhaps the reverse most of us would think. I want our troops coming home involved. What we want to do is integrate them into a civilian job that can connect their military service towards a retirement, making their connected service community for civil service. So now see though what I was talking about the Patriot Act, they it's pretty interesting. What we want to do is somewhat the same as what I would do for the economy. We'll get right into that. What to do is make all agencies like the TSA work for us, not against and spy on us. So we rotate troops back into society, make them man up into that TSA in different agencies like that. The 2020 census is surely upon us. Love to see things going back the way, working for people, not against for some politicians' pockets. So basically, like all the cyber stuff that's going on and everything. I didn't talk about that, but the reason why that's going on is because they have Edward Snowden stuff going on here. What he talked about, he was talking about how they're spying on people. So you have people not necessarily. I'm sure the majority of everybody doesn't have anything that would help the government in that situation. So the government takes its attention away from um, reporting to itself. What it can see out there is bad activity, dangerous people, that they could catch instead of focusing on people who are doing stuff like me. I try to um, figure out day to day what I can do or what I can add, that's going to help the situation. In the, in the immigration thing, we want to closely put a kind of talk about that. We have to come up with something on that. What all that Obama is doing is he's trying to make everybody legal and legit that broke the law to come here. Make them legit if you can. Like I guess like what my dad's saying, talking about Marco Rubio is trying to do. Okay, but it's only for a political thing. It's only so that Democrats get more votes. And people, if they were dictated to and pushed out of a miserable society and conditions that they live in because of the same socialist things that are going on here, but it's gotten way worse in South America. I don't know exactly what the crimes are like in France or whatnot, but highly socialist place area. So they're pretty much controlled. Their thoughts are controlled. So um, it boggles my mind, how what people think. Um, they're fed a lot of crap. Like I heard this thing about the guy um, who Bergdahl, the guy, what he did was um, he he set down his rifle on the ground and basically set all of his ammunition and walked off. My mom told me that people got killed uh, trying to rescue him. So their priorities are, like I said, they're for somebody else, and um, you just have to pay attention to society. People will get hateful about a liberal agenda. Um, they're not really going to be talking in reason, in my opinion. Also, I don't think that they're going to be like this way. If they lose the debate, is because they go on the attack and they'll call you names or they'll say this and that. And I've been guilty of doing that too, because this is what they do. They do the same thing. So, basically, I just want people to, I want people to pay attention to what the candidates say, and then look back real quick and pay attention to what the people say when other people say their opinion. So read the whole opinions and also how hateful people are that are for the liberal agenda and cause. They're that quick and prompt to object and talk smack. They're not gonna say anything reasonable, but they get a lot of people somehow that are steadily agreeing with them and that jump board with that, and they're like, "Yeah, Bush is," because they talk nonsense. It's all nonsense. The guy here, Obama, is he's guilty of anything and everything he's ever said about Bush. So, um, he's not everybody's president. He's not our president. He's only certain people's president. So if you really truly had a JFK in there, what the Pat Buchanan was trying to say Rubio was the other day, is this JFK figure or whatever. JFK was liked by everybody. He didn't have anybody hating on him. So in order to really truly, in my opinion, be that president, people are gonna love you to death. And not just a certain people or whatever, you know. It's gonna be everybody. So that was JFK. Roosevelt ended up being a good president. he had a lot of people voting for him. It was a hostile time that he lived in, and they were also forced into a war. So people didn't have much choice, but the guy stole people's gold. So it was like, is that okay? There was enough people that didn't have gold or something that said, okay, you can steal everybody's gold, take everybody's gold from them. That's not right. So um, maybe we're not, whenever you win a war and fight, you're supposed to make the other place pay reparations of the war. They're supposed to pay for it. So they got involved with us and they got their asses handed to them. They also, in my opinion, have no excuse. That's also another liberal lie or BS thing that they'll throw out there. Like like we shouldn't take care of our own. Like if somebody came up and punched you in the face, like you're not supposed to, you know, whoop their ass. Pardon my language. I think part of me doing that is also very upfront. I'm being frank with you. I'm not gonna pull your leg or anything like that. So just really pay attention to what people say, and I'll do more of these. Whatever it takes to get a lot of people um, aware of what I'm talking about and what I'm trying to get accomplished here is basically everybody's goal. You know, and I would want to be that president if that were the case. I'd even vote for the guy if they could magically somehow magic wand or something come up poof with that guy and he's gonna do all these things like I said, and fix the economy and help us out all in our jobs, get us all in the right places, help all of our personal situations out. Honestly, I'll vote for him. But I'm I'm actually disgusted, and I am almost to the point where I was actually trying to talk to myself and convince myself not to even vote. You know, because it's almost like what's the point? Because they're talking about some agendas. It's all going to come down to, yeah, they're national issues, but they're not really. Um, I don't know how serious these people are, what they're going to get accomplished necessarily. So I'm highly motivated, especially with a jerk like Chris Christie. In my opinion, anybody who comes off talking anti-marijuana at all like that, in my opinion, is pretty low down, and dirty. So I'm really disappointed in him, and then a lot of people. I'm disappointed because you're gonna hear language like they want they want our cops and our police to still another socialist thing. They want them to not crack down on people smoking J's. So you could be smoking out, and then just the government will tell cops, "Oh, just let them do it," instead of coming out and making a law. So they're gonna force other people to break the law even more. So what I always also thought, in my opinion, that a lot of gang-like type of activity happen that's derived from people struggling and people not being able to take care of their own, not being able to govern their own life. So I have my own life and my own free will. I need somebody to come over here with a gun and put it in my face and tell me, how to live, but I can live over here without any of that and take care of myself. So how do we do that? So it's all up for discussion. I don't really know what else to tell people, but definitely want to do something myself. So I'm gonna try to write a book, my life story, and then between then or whenever, whatever. I'm just gonna try to focus on that I'm going to try and focus on actually reaching out to people to get them interested in to actually voting for me. So, and a likable guy, so everybody will like me, not just one group of people, not one type of political type of people, but everybody. And then I'd like people to be motivated into petitioning for me and kind of endorsing me, so to speak, so that I could save myself and other people money for whenever the time comes that I will apply for a bid for presidency. So have a lot of support in a lot of different ways like that. So those are my plans, and it wasn't like I just thought of this yesterday or anything like that. I have a lot of strong ideas, and it's all out there open for discussion. In my opinion, everything can be made better for everybody, not, you know, not just a certain amount of people and then crap on these people over here for these guys to get their agenda across. Sound stuff for everybody. So that's basically where I'm at, where I've been at. I've done things on the ground with people, raised a lot of money before. I've done um, lobbying and other things like that. So I'm just gonna go focus now on that book and some other things that I do that will possibly help endorse me. And thanks. Have a good day. Peace.